welcome to the Crafty Mini, and in this one I got sent a lovely little gift from our friend Welsh Board Gamer, so cheers mate. I'll be indulging this, the one particular gift on the next podcast we do. But yes, he had some old Space Crusade miniatures, and there was a couple in there, and the Android is one of my favourites. From playing this game when I was a kid all those years ago, and so I thought what I'd do is I'd paint this like the box art, which will pop up now, and so they've got like this, it's a white armour but there's like a blue sort of undertone in the shadows and things, so that's what we're going to go for now on this miniature. But much like the elf I did from Hero Quest, so this is a retro miniature, so it's a really old sculpt first of all, so that, there are some errors and some details that aren't quite there, and you sort of have to figure it out and paint around it. But the charm and the style in this miniature is absolutely amazing, and a complete nostalgia hit for me when I unboxed it. So we're gonna try and stick, like the elf, going to stick close to the original paint scheme as best we can, and go from there. Now this game I absolutely adored as a kid. I know Space Hulk has a lot of huge following, and it's a well regarded game. Personally, meh, it was boring. Space Crusade was where it at. For me, you had 3 chapters of Marines, the Imperial Fist, the Blood Angels and the Ultramarines, and you got to fight a variety of different creatures on a board, very much like Hero Quest in that sense, that the board would change or different orientation and things, and the rooms would be in a slightly different layout, and there was a variety of enemies to fight rather than in Space Hulk just Gene Stealers. So yeah, Space Crusade for me was always the better game, a lot more fun with it, and I played it a lot as a kid, so this, as I say, this is a massive nostalgia hit for me, and I'm going to have fun painting this up. I've modified the base slightly, and I've put him on a little plinth, because you don't know this, Welsh, but this is going to go back to you when this is done, as a thank you, because there's a couple of androids in there, so I've painted one for myself, and you're going to have one as well. But right, so to start with, I've got some blue and white, mix them with a very little bit of blue just to get that first base coat, because I want this to be the shadow layer that's sort of in there, kind of like on the artwork that you can see in the top right, this blue undertone and everything, and then we'll go out and pick other little details. This paint scheme, I'll be honest, is going to be quite a simple one, because of the sculpt, and 2, just I think it suits the miniature better. I know some people paint these like modern Necrons and all that sort of stuff, but for me I was always enamoured with the box art for this game as well. And if you can get yourself a copy of the game, I mean, it is expensive because it's an older game and it's obviously out of print and whatever, and to get one that's complete is rare, but if you can get it and you can afford it, strongly recommend it. It is so much fun. It's a cool little game, and it's effectively a sort of semi co-op. It's one guy is the sort of Chaos Lord, Chaos Sorcerer, whatever it might be, and then the rest of you, one player for each of the chapters, and you kit your Marines out, you buy up, you get upgrades, you level up and stuff. It's a lot of fun and a really cool little game. So yeah, if you can find it, get it, definitely. But I'm back onto the Android then. So we've got the base coat in there. We're going to start building up the highlights on the actual armour itself. Excuse me. So the original base coat was roughly sort of 4 parts white to 1 part blue. So really brightened up that blue to the base coat you see there. And then all I've done now is I'm going in and adding a bit more white, building up that first highlight layer, and then we'll keep adding white and building up. So we get this white armour. Now with this, because of I won't be putting a wash over or anything like that, because I want the blue to still come through. What we'll be doing is just taking our time and going around and picking out all the little panels. It is very fiddly, it is very time consuming, but it's worth it in the end. So this initial white base coat, the blue will still shine through a little bit, but we're going to build up from there. And you can see here, so I've done the one arm, I've got the sort of hips and the 2 legs done. This is a very, very long process, but as I say, take your time with it, pick out all the cool little details, and just enjoy the process. It's one of the cool things I found out after doing the Hero Quest elf is how much fun I had painting a model from like the late 80s, early 90s. And same with this, because of the way it's been made, so it's hand sculpted and then obviously put into a cast and everything. It's got those little imperfections. It's got a lot of charm, and also because the sculptor hasn't done this through a computer program, they've done all this by hand for the original sculpt. The details that are there, because they are very sparse, because you can see obviously you don't want to have to hand make a lot of different details, but the details that are there stand out a bit more, and you've got a lot more range to sort of express yourself and have a bit more fun with the colours and things. Now with this in particular, for me, was I always like the silhouette with the big shoulder pads and then that metallic skull sitting right in the middle. And on this, there's a tiny little detail on the left shoulder pad. You can see I'm just painting now. It's this tiny little circle, but other than that, they're just split into two halves, nice and simple. But it really does make this iconic silhouette with especially when it's holding this big sort of las gun up at the one side. And the android was always a terrifying enemy in the game, because it was, apart from the big bads like the dreadnoughts and the Chaos Marines who were better or on a par with you, this was the first enemy you met that could really do some damage. And again, it's that sort of nostalgic 80s, being an 80s kid, Terminator, stuff like that. There was always this sort of sense of dread with robotics that's always been there, and it was just fun, an absolute fun enemy to fight in the game. And when I saw there was a couple of these in the box, and there's a dreadnought as well, which I will be painting for a future video. As I say, this was just like a massive nostalgia hit for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, so if you're going to be doing this and you're going to be painting to the box art, especially with an older miniature, take your time with it. Do not rush it. It's not worth rushing. If you're going for more of a sort of modern metallic, like a silver, obviously a lot easier. You just blast it with silver, nice wash, and you're pretty much good to go. A couple of edge highlights and things. But for building up white, it's a case of you just want to build up your layers, and you never want to start too bright, because if you do, when you get to what should be your highest highlight, there's nothing brighter than the bright white you've already used, so it doesn't look as good. So starting off with a colour mixed in this case the blue, it just builds up those layers of opacity, and it gives you a lot more visual interest on the miniature. Right, so at this point the first highlight layer is done. I've taken my time going around, so now it's the same thing, the same process again. So it's again a bit more time consuming, but going through, adding a bit more white to that mix and going around and highlighting everything again. This particular layer, I'm spending more time on the areas that are raised up. You can see I'm not hitting everything on the miniature because I want a bit of definition in the shadows there, and just anything that's facing up is basically getting an extra coat. And then when we get to the face and the little details, pick those out a bit more. But otherwise you can see I'm not going all the way up to where I've previously painted, just so I've still got some of that transition to the blue colour that's on the sort of interior of the actual android itself. Right, so on to the other bits of the actual miniature now. So he's holding this sort of laser rifle thing. Now obviously these inspired the modern Necrons, and they've got that green sort of chamber for the Gauss rifle. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm going to keep this very, very simple. In the artwork, the guns are just a metallic, pretty simple. So what I'm going to do with this is basically everything in dark silver. We'll wash it down and we'll highlight with some brighter silver, and that's it. Keep it really simple. Just pick out like the edges, the little skull that's on the gun, and the bayonet will get just the bright silver as well. Keep it really simple, because it's the armour, the actual android himself, that's the bit I want to shine and be the focal point, because I've always loved this white armour that they've had. So just going through now, basic out the entire thing in silver for the weapon, also the flooring and all the piping, because we'll pick all those details out later on the base as well. Right, so at that point the base has got the silver, so I'm picking out a few details. So we're going to do the skull that I've stuck on there, and then the homemade sort of wiring. There'll be one yellow, one red wire, and we'll get that picked out, and this will all be washed down along with the weapon itself. Again, so the starkness of the white on the android, that's the thing that'll pop at the end. But have a bit of fun with this, pick out the details. With the base, I roughly based it on some of the tiles that are in the actual game. There's some bits that you have this just red and yellow wiring that runs through, so that was what I did on this like corner junction. Got a few little random greeblies for my bit box and just added those on just for a bit more visual fun on the actual base itself, and just so it harkens back to that 80s style colour scheme that you used to see on everything. So I'll at this point just got the red for that last bit of wiring. For the yellow wire, I've just base coated it in the same colour as the skull, just because it'll help the yellow adhere to it better. Picking out the red wiring, really simple. And as I say, just gives it a bit more visual interest, a bit of colour, makes it pop a bit more, and it makes the starkness of that white really shine, and that's the focal point of the actual piece. But yeah, with anything like this, when you're doing a basing, especially for an early 90s model, is be a bit more vibrant with your colours, because that was the sort of style back then, and have a bit more fun with it. So this will all get base coated and washed down on the base and just the weapon. As I say, the armour I'm not going to touch now, leave that as is, and we'll come up in a bit with the glamour shots and you'll see the finished product. And here he is, all finished. This is an android from Space Crusade. As I say, an absolute joy to paint this miniature. It's been cool painting another late 80s, early 90s mini like the Alpha did. Really enjoyed this. Pretty simple paint scheme, as I say, and it's playing, whenever you paint these older miniatures, it's playing more to the style and the way they've been sculpted, and not worrying about some of the finer details that you get on a more modern print, just because it's the nature of how it goes, because of the sculpt. You can see here there's some better lighting, all the detail that pops on the actual mini. I'm really happy with this. It was a good bit of fun. Really enjoyed it. So I've done two on some plinths. So one's going to get sent back to Welsh. So thank you again, Welsh, for the gift. It was lovely, and I've really enjoyed this. And we'll probably do the Dreadnought in a future video. And I'm going to do like the box art, where it's got a lot of freehand and some really crazy sort of trippy patterns all over it. But thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one. While I'm here as well, I'd like to just remind people, so the podcast with me and Welsh, it's on every other Saturday at 6:30 on the channel, so go and check them out. If you've got any questions, anything you'd like us to talk about, please hit us up on either of our channels, because we'll answer any questions and things. We've got a few sort of pre-recorded, but we've got any ideas and things people want to listen to, let us know. But thank you all very much, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.